Good morning, All Saints. I'm Justin McNeill, and here with my husband, Jimmie Andrews. I'll begin with a brief passage from Matthew. A lawyer asked Jesus, teaching him, "Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law?" And Jesus said, "You shall love the Lord with all your heart, all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the great and foremost commandment. And second, like it, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend the whole law and the prophets." To us, this represents All Saints, a parish that seeks to express its love of God in ways that serves its neighbors through love, all its neighbors without exception.
And I grew up in Coleman, Alabama, in a family that rarely attended church, mostly on Easter and what's referred to in the South as Decoration Day. Then, when I was 16 years old, my family joined a tiny missionary Baptist church. Needless to say, as a teen struggling with my sexuality, it was not a good place to be. Our family actually left that church over a huge conflict when my mom's friend hired a gay interior designer to assist with the new sanctuary. After that, I did not attend church again for over 30 years. I moved to Pasadena in 2001, and a couple of years later, I was in the audience of a gay men's chorus concert at the Alex Theater in Glendale. In the middle of that concert, the announcer said, "Please welcome to the stage from All Saints Church in Pasadena, the Trouvères." And at that moment, almost 200 men dressed in black parted in the middle. At the top of the risers appeared the Trouvères, all dressed in red. They came down the risers to the center of the chorus like a big red heart. What I experienced that night was unimaginable before. It took me another 8 years to find Justin and to be introduced to All Saints in a much bigger way. Now, almost 24 years after that concert, I've wondered countless times how much better my life would have been if I had experienced All Saints' radical inclusion when I was the age of those Trouvères.
And I came to All Saints in the summer of 1990. Invited to attend a service by a fellow JPL colleague. The sermon was moving, and the tables on the lawn representing a diverse collection of ministries serving the church and the greater Pasadena community were remarkable. I remember the Central American Ministries table and their work to provide housing and support to the refugees from Nicaragua, Guatemala, and Honduras. I also remember the table for galas, Gay and Lesbian All Saints, a groundbreaking ministry in the parish. Seeing these two ministries struck a deep chord in me, and I thought, here is a church that is genuinely reaching out to all of God's creation. Then, not more than a few visits more, in the fall of 1990, the rector George Regas preached the landmark sermon, God, Sex, and Justice. In that sermon, George shared his understanding of the inclusive love of God, Christ, and the Holy Spirit, and as a result, the parish would begin a year of discernment on the blessing of same-sex unions. As a closeted man, this was a life-changing and life-giving experience, to be in a community that was about to address a central conflict in my life. And so I was transformed by All Saints in my first year. And following year, I was confirmed as a member of the Episcopal Church by the suffragan Bishop Chet Dalton. I joined the Canterbury Choir, and in my fourth decade now, I've experienced many different ministries here. Colors, Christians Offering Love to Overcome Racism in Society, the Vestry. I served on the discernment committee with Dr. Sally Howard, and also Most Sacred, getting married under the oak back in 2020 to Jimmie. So I close with this. exactly practically 35 years ago, I got a call from a stewardship volunteer for All Saints. And I said, I'm not a member yet, and I haven't pledged. And she said, that's okay, give what you can. And so I did. I pledged back in the fall of 1990, and I've been doing so annually ever since. And so Jimmie and me, we gladly and firmly make our pledge every year, remembering that the main commandment, to love our God with all of our hearts, all of our souls, all of our minds, and to love our neighbors as ourselves. Thank you.